Hello everyone, this is Hokum again of the Dead Clan. This is a game on the new Korean map with green grass and Yan again. Here you can see I'm driving the British Tier 6 medium Cromwell. This is a quick review that I was asked to do by somebody who'd seen my Centurion 7.1 review. The Cromwell is probably one of the fastest and most mobile of the British tanks, with a top speed of 64 kilometers per hour and a fairly decent track traverse and turret traverse. It's a small, nimble tank. Unlike the Centurion, as you saw in the previous video, the Cromwell doesn't quite have as good a gun depression. It's quite good. The only disadvantage of its high speed and relatively good gun is the fact that the tank has fairly low armour. With a front hull armour of only 64mm and a turret frontally of only 76mm, this is going to be basically filled full of holes quite rapidly by most anything you'd meet. Some tier 4s will bounce off of it, and if incredibly lucky you'll get bounces off tier 5s and 6s, but don't expect on it. If you're driving around in this thing, imagine you're driving a light tank. The manoeuvrability and the speed of this tank is pretty much the same as most light tanks. Anyway, back to the map. Here we are on Korea. Just taking a couple of shots at a enemy tank as it's coming towards me. You see I'm ducking backwards and forwards. One of the main things of this tank, as I said, is to keep moving and keep mobile. Enemy artillery will make big holes out of you. The Cromwell seems to be perfectly well suited for having holes made out of it. As you can see here, I decided to try and save the life of our ELC by running up the VK3601. I managed to successfully give him a good ram in the side and extract the ELC. Out of a good shot there at the VK3001H. Unfortunately, the Electo's rounds are a bit faster than mine. Sniff backwards here, and I think better of it. Much bigger and uglier than I am. Let Yan with his T3485 deal with him. The Cromwell's gun, I mentioned before, is actually fairly good for its tier. Penetration of 145mm isn't terrible, it's not the best, but with a rate of fire of about 15 rounds per minute. Let me just double check.
Enemy armor is hit.
Yep, 15.3 rounds per minute. Gives the gun a DPM of approximately 2,100, which by any stretch of the mark is quite reasonable for any tank, let alone a tier 6 medium. Saw me just take out a Lux just now. He was pretty unlucky. I managed to damage his engine and he just coasted to a halt just in front of me.
They're knocked out.
You can probably see that I'm using the tank here just to keep mobile, keep moving, keep getting past the enemy, keep moving around. The more you stay still in this tank, the more likely you are to wind up dead because of that lack of armour. The only times you would probably want to stay still is if you've got maybe binoculars and you're pretty sure that the cover that you're in is either a double bush or you're just far enough away that the enemy can't see you. The turret's got quite a good view range, 360 metres, which isn't bad. It's not quite as good as things say like the American M7, which has got 380, which is a very fast tier 5 tank. It's probably the closest medium tank, I think, in the game to this. You see how I make Matilda's day there by taking them out.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Miss a couple of shots here.
Penetration.
Donk that one. Not sure where that one went. Imagine they can make a nice shot on this Panzer
Enemy armor is
4S.
damaged.
Just feel like I make my last shot. I think Jan gets him. Is it Jan? No, it's the Hummer what gets him that time. But anyway, that was a quick go on career in this tank. In the next map, it's a nice little skirmish on Lakeville. Just showing again the spotting characteristics and also the ability to roam around the maps. You can see this time I'm again with Pom Pom. This is just the two of us on this one. Myself and Pom Pom had agreed we were going to spot by the lakeside. He was going to sit on the 4 line and I was going to sit somewhere on the 7 line. This is actually a fairly typical match, fairly high tier 6 match with KV-1Ss and ARLs on the opposition.
Move out.
This tank can easily take one shell from a KV-1S, but don't try and make a habit of it. The KV-1S will on the second round take you out. If you're lucky with good manoeuvring, you can normally take out a KV-1S one-on-one with this tank in close quarters. The KV-1S has just got such a slow reload rate and also the slow turret traverse and track traverse. You can happily whiz around them. The speed bleed on turning, as you'll have seen and you can see here, is very low. Fortunately an A20 makes a bit of a mistake, revealing himself, and that's the end of him. The camo value of this tank isn't too bad. My crew have got pretty much 100% camo training. I think only the driver hasn't, because he's got smooth ride, not smooth ride, the cross-country driving, and also the clutch braking. You can see that I make a mess of this Churchill here. You can see this, the rate of fire and the rate that the reticule closes in is quite quick. The only small problem with this tank is the gun is generally good, as I mentioned before, but as soon as you start moving the reticule will open quite wide. It shrinks down quite rapidly. I've got a enhanced gun lane drive on this tank. Here you can see the penetration of this tank isn't quite good enough. You'll see me in a second start swapping over to premium rounds to have a go at him. Frontally, the ARL-44 is quite a tough tank, and the 145 penetration just isn't enough. I've switched over to premium rounds here. Fortunately, the ARL has just died just before I can use it. Pom Pom and I have decided to band together and act as a wolf pack against the enemy tanks. This Churchill here has a bad day. I managed to make some nice damage out of the Panzer IV as well.
Enemy vehicle destroyed. Penetration.
Managed to luckily dodge the 105 round, I think it was, from that T40. That would have made a nasty mistake. Unfortunately, I lose track of the fact that there was a KV-1S out there, and he takes a huge chunk out of my health. So it's just a kind to GTFO.
Penetration.
Distracted T-34-85 is a nice target. Hits me with the tracks, unfortunately, but then gets caught by KV-1S. Here's another useful thing: try and use archways just to spot enemy tanks before they can spot you. You can see I managed to track the T40 and then just take him out in a couple of rounds. I'll try and do the same here with the Hetzer. Unfortunately, he's just in the wrong position and I'm unable to quite see him. I'm spotted, probably just due to proximity. Continue coming around. T1 Heavy's just in my way, so I decided to come back around the other way. The KV-1S train coming down that alleyway. I'm quite lucky here, crossing straight across the KV-1S. He obviously wasn't expecting me, and due to the spotting mechanics, I probably just appeared just a bit later than he needed to aim. Just around the corner, unfortunately, the KV-1S takes out my target. But that's pretty much the end of this batch. I hope everybody enjoyed my quick overview of the British Tier 6 medium, the Cromwell. And it's a good mobile little sprightly tank. Okay, this is Hokum signing out, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.